Welcome to your balance bar flow. Find a chair or a counter, something stable, way more stable than this rolly chair that I have here, but it's the only chair I have for now. I have to make sure I use a lot of stability to keep it from moving. So you might see it moving. First thing we're going to do is find your balance on the side that's holding on to the bar. So that means the abs are engaged, the glutes are engaged, even the shoulder area is engaged so that it can be sturdy as the opposite side moves. We'll start off with some releves, keeping your toes and your knees as forward as possible, not letting your heels splay out to the side or too far in. You want everything in parallel. This is called parallel position. I suggest using the energy from your pelvic floor area, bringing it up towards your face, and that's going to lift you off the ground. You'll have plenty of times to practice this. We have 2 more left. Last one. Great. Now we're going to start some movement of that opposite leg. So the leg next to the bar is engaged. The knee is slightly bent. We're going to start off with a front battement, which means we're going to let the leg lift up in front of us, either pointing or flexing your toes. Pointing your toes out or flexing your toes towards your nose. I'm going to keep my toes flexed because that is harder for me. So whichever one is more difficult is the one you should probably do. Dancing, I'm used to pointing my toes. So it's good for me to do the opposite. Now when you do this, you want to make sure your abs don't crunch in. You want your torso to be still. That's why you have the bar. Last one. We're going to go off to the side now. Trying not to lean into the bar. It's there for support. Try not to lean onto it. And don't worry about lifting your leg super high off to the side. Because if you start to worry about how high it's going, you may start to overcompensate by leaning too much into the bar. You're going to lean a little bit, but you want to create as much resistance as possible. You should feel that all in the glutes. 2 more. Last one. Shake it out. Find your balance again. We're going to go for those releves. Now, when you're in releve, there's 2 balls of your feet. There's a ball underneath your big toe and little toe. You want to really focus on that big toe ball. A lot of people have trouble using that big toe ball as they do this releve. So focus on that. You can even use your arm to help you. As you come up, your arm can come up. Think up and tall. Exhale on the way up. Take a nice inhale on the way down. Shake it out. We're going to switch to the next exercise. Staying on this side. That leg is probably fatigued now. Good. That's what we want. We're going to go into the knee lift. So you're going to lift your knee as high as you can, keeping the thigh parallel to the ground. Try not to lean. You have to engage the glutes on that standing leg, the shoulders even. I remember this taking a lot of work for me on this roly-poly chair. So if you want a challenge, use an office chair. And relax. Shake it out. We're going to switch sides. So whatever that means for you, I'm going to move this chair on this other side so we can get the other leg. Again, take this time to think up from the roof of the mouth, think up from the pelvic floor. Knees are slightly bent, softened, supple knees before you start. Take time before you start. Even if you need a pause, we're going to go to the releves. And one side tends to be more difficult than the other. Balls of the feet. Using my arms not only give you a nice little shoulder arm movement, but also it kind of helps me stay stable when I go up, because I'm thinking up, my hands up, everything's up. Last one. Point or flex your toes, whichever one is more difficult. I'm going to flex my toes towards my nose for the bon mots, which means we're just lifting the leg up in front of us, coming back down. Taking your time before each rep so that you can create that resistance to not lean to the side. See that chair, that pesky chair. The standing leg should be slightly bent. That's how you get a little more groundedness in the movement. And shake it out. We're going to go out to the side for the lateral bon mot, lifting laterally. Keep your knee forward as you do this. Try not to rotate, because that's a whole nother exercise which we're not doing in this sequence. Keep your knee forward. Make sure you're breathing. 2 more here. Last one. And shake it out. Oh, well, second to last one. I was confused. It's hard to count and flow at the same time. Which brings me to tell you, you don't need to worry about the counting when you're flowing. We'll go over that. Okay, we're going to go on to our knee lifts. But first, we're going to get our alignment. Imagine a line going up from your pelvic floor to the roof of your mouth, sending you up toward the ceiling. Before you start, then you're going to lift your knee up as high as you can without shifting your weight. Again, you're going to either flex your foot or point your toe, whatever one is more difficult. Since I have some dance training, I'm going to flex my foot because I spend a lot of time pointing my toe. toes. I don't have just one toe. Shake it out. Here come the releves. Get your alignment, energy from the pelvic floor up. Good. You see how difficult that was for me before I started? It's because I was trying to get my energy to flow up. There was a little blockage for me and it didn't flow. But here we are. Ankles are not splaying to the side or coming in. Exhale. Inhale on the way down. I'm excited to go over some breathing and movement techniques with you, like how to breathe while you move or move while you breathe would technically be it. So follow your breath coming up on the exhalation. Last one. I had to make sure that it is recording because I forgot to press record last time. We're going to go into first position. This is a first position with your feet. So your heels are touching each other. If that's difficult, you can kind of spread your heels out. So put some space between your heels. They don't have to touch each other, but you do want this turned out position. Hips and knees turned out. As well, you're going to go into that releve. Same thing, balls of the feet, energy flowing up toward the ceiling. This may be easier or harder than the parallel for you. You should think about that. Was this easier or harder than the parallel releves? Two more. Last one. Keeping the first position, we're now going to plie. We're going to bend, keeping the back from bending over. You're going to bend your knees and the ankles to come down to plie. So this is going to require some core engagement for real. So pelvic floor is engaged, the obliques are engaged to keep you from bending over as you do this. And that was just a reminder to let you know that your feet do not have to be touching each other to achieve this first position. There can be space. This is your flow for your body. Two more. Last one. Yeah, we're holding it for a little while and bring it up. This is working the insides of your thighs. Now we're going to find out what second position feels like. So you're going to move your toes out to second position. You're going to go wide. Your toes stay turned out. Feet stay turned out. Knees are turned out and come in. Second position, your knees should come over your ankles. Really gonna have to hold on to this chair. And take your time. Yeah, on the come up. Just like the first position plies, you want to keep your pelvis engaged, so the pelvic floor engaged, so that you don't lean over as much as you can. Two more. Last one. Okay, we're going to switch sides now. Whatever that means to you, other side of the chair. And now you're going to go back to that first position. Heels are going to stay together as much as you can. If you need to open up and allow some space there, that's perfectly fine. Let's start with the releves. When you do your releves, you want to make sure you get your alignment. I'm sure you know that by now. Now we begin. So the heels are going to behave a little differently than parallel. So you're going to keep them as close together as possible. They're going to separate, but you want to keep them close together so they don't splay out to the opposite side too much. When you come down, it should come down into that first position that you left. Using the balls of the feet, especially that ball underneath the big toe. And again, I'm not a stickler about what you're doing with your arms. This is your flow. I find that lifting my arm up helps me really embody that verticalness. Also, it's a habit. We got one more of these. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, and release. Stay in the first position. We're now going to plie, getting our alignment and plie. So the knees are going to come over the ankles. Keeping the feet on the ground while you're doing this is also part of the challenge, as well as keeping yourself from bending over. So go as far down as you can without bending over. As soon as you start to bend over, that's where you know that it's getting difficult. So you're going to have to slow it down even more. You don't have to follow exactly the way I'm doing it. If you need to go slower, then go slower. It's your flow. I'm guiding you along. At some point, we'll put together some workshops that will help you find your own flow as well. Still breathing, always breathing. Two more. Last one. Squeezing the inside of the thighs on the way up. Awesome. Shake it out. We're going to go into the second position plie. I'm just trying to make sure that I can bring the chair down. I don't think I can with this chair. So The chair technically is a little too high to be a proper bar. If you want more information about that, just let me know. I can give you some. You want your hand to almost be at a 45-degree angle, maybe like a 60. This is almost a 90-degree angle from the shoulder. But it's going to work for today. And technically, you don't even need the bar. It's a lot easier to find center with the bar and also a lot easier to control those little micro movements that challenge our stability. So the bar is a wonderful tool. When I say bar, I mean whatever you have at your house, a chair, a counter. If you have an actual bar, great. Again, do whatever you want to do with your arms. We'll have arm exercises later. So this is kind of whatever you want to do. Two more. Last one. Cool. Now we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to grab the bar with both hands really gently. You don't want to lean and depend on the bar too much. It's there for support. I'm actually probably going to move my hands a little further down the chair. So we're going to go into some squats. This is not your traditional functional squat. Technically, it's functional. You can use this squat in functional movement. But we're really focusing on the knees going over the toes and the ankles flexing in. So you really want that bend in the ankles. The back stays flat. Notice my back is not moving. I'm not bending at the hips too much. My pelvis is neutral. I have a little bit of a natural lordosis in the back of the lower back. And so if you have that natural curve in the lower back, let it free. Well, technically, everyone has a natural curve in the back, but some people more than others. So really focus on the back being straight as you do this. Not bending at the spine, bending at the knees and the ankles instead. Two more. Last one. You should really feel this on the front of your legs as well, keeping both feet on the ground. We're staying in front of the bar. We're moving to some hip hinge movements. Both feet stay on the ground. Think about the balls of the feet and the heel of the foot connecting with the floor. Back stays flat. Pushing your hips out. So you're going to push your hips so that that natural hinge happens at the hips and not anywhere in the spine. So none of your vertebrae should be bending, only at the hips. If you need to bend your knees more to achieve this, then please go for it. Your knees should be supple, soft, slightly bent. Some people need to bend their knees a little more to achieve this hip hinge, and that's perfectly fine. When you feel the pull in your hamstring, you're going to squeeze your upper back, your glutes up. If your knees are starting to go in, make sure your sides of the foot are planted into the ground. Take your time with each one of these to really feel that alignment happening. See how long I'm taking to even get this position? Now, we're going to take the foot off the ground. Whatever foot you want to do today is fine. You can tap the toe, or you can take it off the ground. As far up as you can, and then bring it back. If you're going to keep your toe tapped on the ground, then you'll just bring your foot back to center. And then bring it back to toe, bring it back to center. But I think everyone should try this as far up as you can. The pelvis wants to be forward. So both points of the pelvis, in front of the pelvis, like headlights, want to be face down toward the ground. That is one of the biggest challenges in this move. Two more. Last one. I'm going to move to the other side. You can actually stay where you are. I'm going to move so you can see my other leg. Get your little stretch in. I don't know why I did that. I must have been testing something out. Don't remember, even though it was 10 minutes ago. Okay. Take your time coming up, finding your position, making sure your pelvis stays pointed down toward the ground. See, I had to rotate my pelvis down toward the ground. This is for you to explore your body, explore your habits and movement. So if you're doing this hip hinge and you find yourself rotating your hips, now you know, and you can adjust the habit. You're aware of the habit and you inhibit the habit and you redirect the habit. Your spine stays straight. It has the curve still, but you're not bending at the spine. And again, one side is going to be harder than the other, most likely. We are almost done here. Use these last few reps to really get in touch with your spine. A neutral spine is when you allow all the natural curves to happen while still engaging. Pelvic floor is going to be a big factor here. So keep it tight. Two more left. That standing leg is where a lot of the hingingness is coming from. So really think about sticking your butt out. This is the last one. Make it count. Feel the lengthening in the leg. And congratulations, we did it. Now you can spend a couple minutes just wiggling it out, hip rotation. You spent a lot of time being stiff, so we're going to just wiggle it out. All right, have a great rest of your day.